says it's all about easy shopping, simple shopping on one hand, and affordability savings on the other hand. We've probably had many sessions this morning where quick commerce was the flavor of the season. Even the earlier discussion, I was just here for about 15 to 20 minutes. And there was quite a lot of talk about how quick commerce is changing the game, rapidly growing, from one of the fastest growing retail channels and so on and so forth. But to lay some context to this discussion that we are going to have, let me begin by just a evolution of how India has evolved in the last 20 odd years, and I've been witness to that evolution of modern retail here. Generally, if you see any Western country or any country where modern retail has developed, it has taken decades, 2 to 3 decades, where general trade contribution has slowly, gone lower and modern trade has evolved. But in India, we are living in very interesting times. Modern trade still is about 10 to 15%, as somebody just mentioned. It's unorganized trade, or GT as we call it, is 85% of grocery retail. A large chunk still remains unorganized. At the same time, modern retail is evolving, if that is the physical world. And we have e-commerce, quick commerce also parallelly evolving very rapidly. So in many ways, India is probably the last dominant country in the world where the contribution of modern trade, whether it's e-commerce, quick commerce, or modern trade itself, is relatively low, and it's going to remain that way. But we have all of these models evolving parallelly. And in many cases, India may be even leapfrogging the physical retail evolution. So that's what's happening on one side, where ease, convenience, etc., premiumness, health, all of these factors are playing into one set of customers. But on the other hand, we also have this dual dilemma that we have. We have one set of customers who's willing to pay for premium, for convenience, for health, but you have a larger set of customers, what you would call as the India 1 and India 2, as Kishorji used to say. We have a large set of customers here in India who are currently struggling with just being able to meet their basic needs. We have real estate inflation, we have food inflation. All of these are really putting pressure on the middle and lower middle class families today. So we are present here with a unique challenge where in metros, as well as in mini metros, which today contribute to a large chunk of your e-commerce, quick commerce, you have customers definitely who are adopting ease of shopping, sitting at home and ordering. On the other hand, you have a larger set of customers who want to also save money. And that's when these customers will look for savings, promotions, discount, and the likes of DMart will also be catering to such customers. So this is the context that we live in. And really the objective of this discussion is to go around the table, understand the views from several of our speakers here, and they represent quite a diverse set, I must say. People from Gujarat, from Calcutta, Delhi, Gurgaon, as well as Mumbai are here on the panel, and each of them offers something unique and different to stand out from the competition and give their customers a reason to live forever. So let's go around the table first, and I would request if each of you can introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about who you stand for, what your format is, and what is your key offering to customers. I think that will be an interesting point to just kick off the discussion, and then we'll get into the actual debate of ease, convenience, and price. Yep.
Hi, good evening, guys. My name is Mohammad Ziaur Rahman. I'm from Hyderabad, so I represent Red Rose Mart. We recently got into a supermarket chain. We have opened our first store in 2023 January on about 26,000 SFT in a very known area in Hyderabad, which is known as Falaknuma. And today, we are on our 4th store. We have covered 60,000 SFT in Hyderabad, and we are opening more 50 stores by 2027. So Red Rose Mart offers an everyday low price policy where we cater all FMCG products and all fresh products, fruits and vegetables. And we recently got into a fashion line, which is named as Wiz in the December 2023. And we have completed our 4 stores of Wiz also, which is located inside Red Rose Mart. So we try to offer as much as discounts and as much as schemes possible to the customer. And as I was listening, where budget and where cost is, how customers come to the store and argue on the pricing, and how pricing is the major concern in today's market. And I'm just too young. There are many big people, many big leaders sitting. I've just got into the market, and it's a very good market, and our main focus is to give the good quality in a very good price, and we are focusing mainly on it. Let's see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's a large, almost like a hypermarket, offering great savings to customers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, can we move over to Sonia?
Am I audible? Is it working? Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sonia. I'm representing More Retail here. And More Retail is a legacy business, which is a 21-year-old business. We have 770 stores in East, South, and North. We are predominantly East and South chain. We have certain footprint in North as well. We are known for value, convenience, and selection in the neighborhood stores. Approximately, we have 3,000 to 3,200 square feet stores available in all this 770 odd network, right? So what we are known for is pure FMCG and fresh, right? So we do fruits and vegetables at the convenience which brings our consumers to our stores. Then followed by, we definitely are learning a lot from the new age businesses, which is quick commerce, that from purely because of legacy of 21-year-old, we have a lot of data sitting with us, right? But now quick commerce and e-commerce has forced us to use that data to connect with our consumers digitally and allow them to shop physically. A lot of our brand partners which are sitting here today know that we use merchandisers, we use our CRM techniques today to connect with our consumers and giving the right value to our brands as well. Right? I will let my fellow partners introduce, and then we will open for discussion. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Rajesh Agarwal. I represent Ghanshyam Supermarket, Hyderabad. I am a third-generation entrepreneur in retailing. We had started Ghanshyam Supermarket in 1989 as a supermarket, and in grocery we are since 1950. So we are presently operating 10 stores in city of Hyderabad, Twin Cities, and we are looking out to expand in further tier 2 towns now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. I think I'll come to you sometime later because it's been more than 2 decades or maybe 3 decades of experience in Hyderabad, and you can talk to us about how your journey has been through these years. But let's move on to Mr. Gupta, Namit Gupta.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Namit Gupta, representing Honey Money Top. It's a chain of supermarket based in Delhi and NCR, and we have been into the business for almost 2 decades now. The core of our business is to take care of the needs of the upscale and niche clientele. Our core business model is FMCG, but we are very strong in the fruits and the vegetables. That's been our model for almost 30 years now. The core of our business is also about servicing the customers through the customized solution in terms of the discounting, in terms of the services, in terms of the loyalty programs, and we have been able to survive in this, competition due to the adaptability. So it's been a learning curve for us, and to be able to survive in the market, I think we have been really, flexible with our policies with respect to the customers, with respect to the change in the market, with respect to the competitions existing in the markets, and that's been the hallmark of our company so far. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kurush Dadabhoy. I'm from Bombay Gourmet Market. So we've got about 10 plus stores all over India right now, mainly in Bombay. We are offering something what we call a franchisee-owned, franchisee-operated model, in which when any aspiring businessman or any person wants to open their own retail store, they come to us, we give them a full layout on how we're supposed to start and everything. We create a full ecosystem in which how inventory can be managed, how replenishments can be done, merchandising, all that. We work with a lot of brands, about 800 plus brands that are empaneled with us at this point of time. And what our main, idea is that we are trying to promote a lot of indie brands, because a lot of Indian entrepreneurs are, kind of developing, they're going abroad, they're getting some ideas from outside, and they want to, start it in India. And we give them a platform, to showcase their products in a very affordable way. Our platform and our stores are not a very big platform. Our smallest store would be about 450 square feet, our biggest store would be about 2,000 square feet. So we have a lot of SKUs, but we are compacting those SKUs into an everyday person's need. When a customer walks into the store, they get a very experiential feel when they walk into the store. There's not too much of clutter. There is always an engagement with our shop floor managers. The franchisee owners that are there are always there at the store. So it is not a very robotic feel that when they enter the store, it feels like a mom and pop store. When you come into a Bombay Gourmet store, you feel like, you can connect with the owners. If there are some issues with the product, of course, there are some complaints with any product at this point of time. There are people that come to us, and we are always up to taking feedback. So I guess what would differentiate us is that we give a very experiential look to our clients and our customers that come in. Thank you.
Just one question here, Kurush. The name of your store is Bombay Gourmet Market.
Yes.
How much of your sale actually comes from gourmet products and how much comes from everyday products?
So about 60% would be gourmet. So when we started, we only envisioned that it would be a gourmet store. But in difficult times, there are things that you have to keep, like everyday products. You have to have Amul butter in your store.
Right.
You just cannot have Lupak. You can't have the Philadelphia cream cheese. You have to have the Indian products also, because not everybody can understand gourmet, but everybody needs the everyday products. So when they come into the store, they shouldn't go empty-handed. We learned that the hard way, though. When we were in the stores, we would see people coming into the stores. They would see that everything is quite expensive, it is premium, they would get a bit uncomfortable and then they would leave. Maybe some of them would just buy a bottle of water just not to feel bad. So then we decided that, we don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable when they come into the store.
And you can also complete the entire shopping then.
Yes, exactly. So with quick commerce, how I guess Bombay Gourmet Market would compete is that our average order values are quite high. Whenever a person comes into our store, he would probably shop for a full month or 2 months as per sir. It would be about 8 to 10K would be our order average value. Okay. When quick commerce would be something that you need in that instant. So that is how, we have been able to sustain ourselves, how our investors have been able to, stick with us in all these times.
Sure, thank you. Hiranmoy Chatterjee, representing Arambagh. तो आप हमें आपका फॉर्मेट समझाइए और आप जो कस्टमर के लिए स्टैंड करते हैं, मतलब आपका नंबर 1 प्रॉमिस कस्टमर के लिए वो क्या है, वो ज़रा बताइए।
देखिए, हमारा फॉर्मेट जो है वो कन्वीनियंट फॉर्मेट में है, ठीक है। हमारा नंबर ऑफ स्टोर है 86, वो एवरेज 600 to 700 स्क्वायर फीट का स्टोर है, एंड ऑल स्टोर आर इन बंगाल। और बेसिकली हम लोग प्राइस कटिंग मॉडल में विश्वास नहीं रखते हैं, ठीक है। हम लोग ये सोचते हैं कि प्राइस कटिंग इज़ नॉट द सॉल्यूशन। तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि कस्टमर को हम लोग जो चाहिए, बेसिकली टू नो योर असॉर्टमेंट प्रोवाइड करते हैं, जो उनका डेली नीड्स असॉर्टमेंट है। और सर्विस, ये बिलीव करते हैं कि आज के डेट में सर्विस बहुत बढ़िया चीज़ हो गया, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन में इतना सारा कंपटीशन है। तो ये सर्विस और कस्टमर का असॉर्टमेंट, और हमारा और एक ख़ास बात है कि हमारा प्रेजेंस, हम कहाँ पे है, वो जगह पे प्रेजेंट है हम लोग, जो जगह कस्टमर के लिए इजी टू एक्सेस है। तो इजी ये फॉर्मेट है हमारा। तो ऑल स्टोर आर इन माई कन्वीनियंट फॉर्मेट।
क्या साइज़ क्या है आपके स्टोर्स की?
एवरेज 600 से 700 स्क्वायर फीट है।
600-700 एकदम नेबरहुड कन्वीनियंस स्टोर्स है, मतलब कस्टमर के कैचमेंट के एकदम नज़दीक।
एकदम।
So good, thank you for the introduction. So audience, you can see here we have a very diverse set of retailers here. Some that stand for assortment, which are really something that differentiates themselves. Some are standing for ease and convenience, like we just heard from Arambagh. And some here, like Red Rose here, talking about giving the best price and value for customers. Now, if we just dial all of that back and first start with the customer, and that's what I've been taught, that in retail, everything starts with the customer. And if you can just talk a few things about that. How did you go about choosing what is the customer segment that you want to target, and how do you what are the things that you have done, either in the retail or in the supply chain or in your communication or in the assortment, which is catering to that customer segment that you have identified. So let's start with the customer, and please also feel free to talk about catchment and where you located the stores, why you located the stores, and give us a context how that is playing to your advantage when it comes to quick commerce or when it comes to value retailers like DMart. If you can start, anyone who is willing to share some ideas on this.
Yeah, so I'll take this up. So what Bombay Gourmet does is mainly before we put up a store, we see the demographic of that place. We see how dense that place is and what kind of people are there. Are they Gen Zs? Are they not? So accordingly, we will set up a place not exactly on your main roads because the rentals are quite high. In Bombay, if you have rentals which are going through the roof at this point of time, so sustainability is a very big problem for us. So we go into, say, a parallel lane over there where people are, they can access our stores easily, where there is enough of parking, where they can come in, they can park. And when we are talking about customers, at this point of time, everybody walks into the store. There is a small kid that walks into the store and they would want prime water, which is costing 2,000 rupees, and some old person would come into the store and they would want chawan parash. So at this point of time, what we have to cater to is an assortment. You have to take the feedback of the customer. When the customer walks in, you have to greet them. When they, when they leave, you have to ask them, what is something that was missing in my store? Because of course, when I'm working in a short format store, I have about 500 square feet to work at. I will not have each and everything that the big guys do. So I need to, cater to each and every category that is there and at least have the top 5 SKUs of those products. We have, gone about 25,000 SKUs at this point of time, but in our store, we would have about 3,000 to 4,000 SKUs. Now we have shuffled through so much of inventory and we've realized and worked with that data. Why? So that which gives us a better margin and what is something that the customers are shifting to. Earlier, they used to go and, they used to pick up the regular namkeens that were, deep fried in palm oil. Now everybody wants roasted namkeens. So these, the evolutionary trait is something that is important. When you see data, you will always understand that, big brands, their namkeens will always move. But if the margins are less, it gets difficult for the retailer. Now, when indie brands come in, they are, of course, giving you better margins. They have more promotional activities. So what that helps the grocer is that it will help us in our PR. It will help the brand also. And with social media, it's a great boost for all of us.
So to begin with, you have chosen to target a relatively affluent customer, given that 60% of your sale comes from gourmet stores. Yes. And the catchment you have selected is a combination of being closer to those kind of customers, at the same time not necessarily being in high rental places.
Correct.
And I did say that, I did notice that you have laid a lot of emphasis on service, which is really listening to the customer, customizing your assortment and so on and so forth.
Right. So in Bombay Gourmet, we don't believe in giving too many discounts. Okay, because I think that would, get a customer used to, a discount as well. And when the minute you stop giving discounts, they would, go to the next person. We kind of create an experiential, experience for them. When they come in, we have an attachment to them. So we have noticed at this point of time with our data that, we've got customers from the past 3-4 years that even call up, or they would even call the floor manager or the people, the employees, the cashier, and say that, do you have this product with us? So we do, we work with a franchisee model, but we are your local mom and pop stores. We are the local kiranas also, but we also have all the imported products that you would need.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So that's gentlemen, that's one way to differentiate yourself, which is identifying which customer profile you want to go for and the range which is suited for that customer. Anyone else would like to give some insights?
Yeah, sure. So at More Retail, we have our stores in different formats. We have stores in societies. We have stores, as very similar our fellow panelists said, right, in the most convenient locations. We also have new format stores, which is pretty much at petrol pumps and gas stations, which is in and out, right? Now, the selection and convenience varied from every format to format, right? What is in and out, we don't have staple selling there because consumers do not want to spend time there. They just want to come and go. So the selection is very impulse there, right? We are not trying to do the monthly purchases there, right? Whereas the society stores and the convenience stores, which is the local neighborhood stores, we have as high as 7,000 selection, right? Now, if I divide it into two from the consumer point of view, one is the new consumer, second is the repeat consumer, right? We have consumer who are very clear what they want. So as a modern trade retailer, it is important that I provide hygiene in terms of merchandise to my consumer, right? Because having to have 7,000 selection in 3,000 square feet store, it's a pain, right? But that is what something my consumer is looking for. So there is a section which provides newness to my consumers, and there is a section which provides the same routine behavior at the best prices available. Once that happens, the next job as a retailer is to make them come again and make them leave fast. I do not want to waste their time. So two things what we do differently is we have a beautiful loyalty program which brings a lot of convenience in terms of value and in terms of discounts to consumer. You buy more, you save more, right? And our POS, so about 5 years back, we are a fully technology-led enabled platform. Our supply chain tech stack was different from my POS, was different from my CRM. Right now, we own everything. So we see that on an average in 1.5 minutes, my consumer is able to find the right product, shop the right product, and go away with a happy smile. Right? That is what we are providing, and that is the convenience we do.
Excellent. I think that really hits the nail when it comes to ease of shopping, which you just mentioned, as well as formatting your stores by the different shopping missions. You talked about the in and out, where the shopping mission may be a little different as opposed to the monthly shopping or the big ticket shopping, which is your regular supermarkets. I would like to ask Mr. Rahman here, because you're standing, I think, amongst the stage here, I think you're clearly the retailer that is standing on price and savings. How is your approach, given that you're fighting with the big boys like a DMart? I'm sure there's DMarts in your city. How do you take them on?
Hello. Every morning we have customers saying, DMart aapse sasta bech raha hai. Yeah. So we mainly open stores in old city of Hyderabad. So when we have opened our first store in Hyderabad, old city people, they didn't know what supermarket is. And we have opened a very luxurious store, like with very good interiors. And so like you'll feel you're going into a luxury store, but getting very cheap pricing. And so we mainly focus on mass areas in old city, and now our next focus is districts. So we are opening stores, districts near Telangana. So we are opening 7 stores in districts, and we don't pay a lot of rent. So because we work on very low margins, we don't pay a lot of rent. So we don't open stores in like new cities or like very developed areas. Our main focus is districts and old city. And how we target the customers is, so we work on the MIS reports, and we try to sell we work on top selling SKUs and try to put offers on that. And we also do WhatsApp campaigns, social media influencer campaigns, and that's a really good impact in today's time. Like I see that impact when we do social media campaign, and customers flow and customers walk-in also increases. So we try to do that. And there's a lot of issue with the companies, big companies like HUL and P&G and many more, not giving the right price point still. But we try to put some budgets and try to cover that.
I think you should be part of some other panel also where you have brands versus retailers. Anyway, can I take inputs from you in terms of the journey that Ghanshyam Supermarket has had? Yeah. If you can just share how your experience has been since the time you began the journey, and what changes outside in the market have you seen, and how have you kept yourself relevant to the customers today?
Hi. I like to emphasize that retailing has been evolving over the time. In 90s, when air conditioning had started in supermarkets, that was a challenge. That time that many people were thinking, whether air conditioning is also required in a supermarket. That was a very big challenge that time. But people adapted it. Similarly comes for POS and billing softwares. People were very skeptical whether to go for barcode scanners, skeptical on things around. But technology has evolved, and right now we find every other store is using software or some kind of a POS. So E-commerce is something, quick commerce, whichever is coming up right now. Home delivery is something which we have been doing since almost 35 years now. It's not something new. Home delivery system was there earlier also. Now it is only that it is getting delivered early. That is just because of the logistics. So obviously brick and mortar stores are going to be there all the time. Nothing can take it out. And one more thing I'd like to emphasize is the monthly basket which customers are willing to buy. No one will prefers to order 50 or 60 SKUs on an online app or something. Everyone wants to come to a physical store and order that out, buy it out. So this is going to be the pattern. And we mostly focus on the top loss-making SKUs, pot and oils. We make sure that within the 3-kilometer radius which we are there, that we are the lowest in that. Let it be the next Kirana store or let it be a supermarket, whichever is there, we are the lowest in that pricing. So we focus on the top SKUs which are there, and हाथी के दांत दिखाने के और कुछ रहेंगे. That has to be there in retailing. That you cannot escape it out. That will be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Namit, one question for you. We were just having a quick chat before this, and you did mention that you have built core expertise in sourcing of fresh fruit and vegetables. So, gentlemen, so amongst this panel, we have Namit Gupta, who represents Honey Money Top, which is the name of the retail stores, but he also has another company which manages the sourcing backend for fruit and vegetables. And that, for many 2 decades or something, has become a big core expertise. So this is one supermarket that tries to differentiate on fresh as well. So can you take us through your journey and how you think that is a big advantage for you?
All right. The model of Honey Money Top is such that, we don't believe in deep discounting and heavy discounting. So we need to, have customer loyalty to, grow. And therefore, we, put a lot of emphasis on the 4, factors. One is the assortment. Second is the quality. Third is the service. And fourth is the customer connect. So that's the area, where we put a lot of effort in having our customers. So when we talk about the fruits and vegetables, that's one category which deeply signifies the quality of the product. It's not just about the fruits and the vegetables, it's also about the private labeling, the pulses, the spices, and the dry fruits. So we are very choosy about what we want to have in our store. And for the set of clients which we are catering to, we keep that in mind while, building any assortment in our store. So our model is basically based upon the customer satisfaction, and to get that kind of customer loyalty, we always emphasize upon the sourcing and the quality of the products. And fruits and vegetables is one such category which brings the customer back to you, because, it's like the bread or the egg or the, daily need articles like milk. You always need the fresh articles every day. So that's where we, tap our customer. We always, try to give them the best of the qualities. At the same time, assortment plays a really very big role, because in our store, we have almost every kind of articles there. The Indian, the imported, the exotic, and then all kind of imported stuff. So we have a big setup in the Azadpur Mandi, and that's our biggest strength, where we can get anything customer wants in our store.
From a pricing perspective, would you say that your pricing is better than the online players?
We don't claim that we are better than the online players, but we certainly can say that our quality is definitely better, and that's not something which we can claim. It's the customer who judges and who decides. So getting those customers coming back to my store, I think it itself says that they are pretty much satisfied with the quality we are selling. At the same time, it also needs to have kind of benchmarking. I cannot charge premium on any of my products. It's just that we take care of our own sourcing. We just put up our markup. We take care of the wastages and other factors, and try to be as competitive as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Chatterjee, आपके लिए भी यही क्वेश्चन है कि आप कस्टमर को प्राइसिंग के तौर पे क्या देंगे, या आपका प्रॉमिस क्या है? आप प्राइसिंग पे ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं, सेविंग्स, डिस्काउंट्स उसके ऊपर, या आप रेंज, क्वालिटी, सर्विस इसके ऊपर?
नहीं, देखिए, मैंने पहले भी कह चुका हूँ कि प्राइसिंग मतलब प्राइस कटिंग फॉर्मेट में हम लोग बिलीव नहीं करते। तो बेसिकली हम लोग क्वालिटी में ज़्यादा ध्यान देते हैं, कस्टमर को चाहते हैं कि हम लोग बेस्ट क्वालिटी कस्टमर को सर्व करें और प्रमोशन तो हम लोग अच्छा देते हैं, मंथली प्रमोशन बाइंग साइकिल में अच्छा प्रमोशन देते हैं और कोशिश करते हैं कि प्राइसिंग हमारा जो रहेगा वो मार्केट के एज पर रहेगा, तो यही हमारा
Okay, I'd like to just introduce one more element of IT and technology here. We've had a lot of progress, especially in the retail world. We have had QR codes coming into it. We have had RFIDs. So you have Decathlon and some other retailers where RFID enables real-time stock accuracy. And in fact, even at the checkout, the customer just needs to put the item into the bin and the billing is done. That's as quick and fast as possible. You have in the West, I don't know about India as much, but you have in the West self-checkout counters where you don't need the manning anymore. The customers themselves go and do their shopping. I would like to get your views on this from the context of making shopping easy for customers and from the context of eliminating cost in the supply chain, which eventually we'll want to pass on to customers. So the role of IT in enabling these two, if there's something that you would like to share with us what you have done in your organizations or what your views are about some of the things that are happening around us.
Sure. As I already mentioned that we are a technology first trade partners, right? It is very important for me to have efficient supply chain, have minimal expiry and zero wastage. Only then I can provide all of these values to my consumers, right? Now, how do I do these things efficiently? It is very important that in my stores, I have the best auto replenishment tools. Right? What sells and what replenish at what rate is the most important part. Right? That's where our technology, our consumer behavior, our future forecast and my past reading comes into picture, keeping aside the seasonal purchases like what happens in Diwali or what happens in Pongal, right? Where we do our estimates, providing what are the new brands coming in. But 70-80% of our business, of all of our business is core business. That's where the auto replenishment really helps, right? And that's what we keep strengthening. The second part of it is the perishable business, which is fruits and vegetables, my breads, bakeries, frozen businesses, right? There, it is important to provide freshness while assuring that I do not increase my dump, right? So what we do there is, because we have a DC supply chain network, which is a mother hub supplying to my smaller networks, right? We do multiple times turns to our stores, right? Ensuring that consumer get the right product, right freshness, and certainly this is not possible if I do not have the partnership or strength with my vendor partners, right? For example, in breads, if I don't get 3 times supplies in my DC as fresh as 3 times in a day, I cannot provide that 3 times freshness to my consumers. So that's how we use technology to give right pricing, right selection, and right freshness to our consumers.
So just one question on this, because everybody talks about it, that India is a very skewed country in terms of the consumption. So while you may have an assortment of, say, 6,000 products, but if you apply the Pareto principle of 80-20, really about a large bulk of your sale will come from your top maybe 200 or 300 SKUs. Would that then put pressure for you to rationalize the range? At the same time, you want to differentiate because you want to say that I have a great range compared to others. So how do you play that dichotomy out?
Yeah, that's a very, very right question, right? And I guess that's a journey to go. We are improving hour by hour, I would say. Right? For the non-Pareto, which is the 20% of our sales value selection, we definitely take bets, but not in depth. Right? It goes width. For example, in personal care, we have as new brands like Plum and Minimalist, and these are not only new brands, these are new categories, which has certainly exploded in online. But offline, we are yet to touch the surface that does consumer are looking for it. Is the online and offline consumer same, right? So we do take our bets, and as we said, we need to have right negotiation with our vendor partners to ensuring that we provide value to our consumer in terms of selection and the right support from a vendor partner so that I do not have the dead inventory. So I think the The key most important part here is the relationship what we carry with our vendor partners. That how do we enable each other to ensure that consumer finally wins in terms of selection.
Perfect. If I can just touch upon range here, some of you mentioned that our range here is very different from what a DMart would offer or what a Zepto online offers. Can you share some insights on how you go about selecting that range, keeping in mind that at the end of the day, we want an inventory that sells. We don't want to keep inventory that just sits there on the shelves for 2 months and 3 months. So while it allows retailers to differentiate, this inventory can be a bit tricky as well. So moving on to some of the other participants, please, if you can just share us some insights on this piece.
Right. So the thing is that when you're in any business, the main criteria is that how much of risk can you take? Any business for say, maybe in retail, you have to be a risk taker and you have to understand that maybe this product that is in front of you is maybe not for you, but that does not mean that you don't put it on the shelf. It may be for the other 99% people. So that risk-taking factor is something that, we have, taken heads on. We have always encouraged a lot of indie brands. And, we have also burnt a lot of money and so have they. But this is something that we have to, go through. All of us have to go through it and try to understand that which products are something that is going to give you a margin and which products are something that is going to create an experience for the customer. A customer is not only coming in to buy the daily groceries. Sometimes customers come into our stores just to de-wind. They just want to relax. They want to see what is new, what is, because, now with social media and every other news channels, what happens is there's a lot of flood of information. Every brand is saying that they are the best. Okay? Now, how does the consumer come to know that they are the best? Until and unless they try them. And even if they are the best, if they don't taste good, then the consumer doesn't buy it again. So when we empanel any brand, when we onboard them, what we always, advise them is that create a little promotional activity. Do a pop-up in our stores. They will get promoters. We will give them a specific table. They will do pop-ups. They will give out samples. They will take feedbacks. We've gone through maybe 300 of those brands, and out of that, only 50 have worked. But for me to understand which 50 have worked, I had to go through all the 300. So it has to be an experiment. You cannot be like, show me the numbers, how much are you doing sales in other supermarkets, only then I will, adopt you. Because then it's not going to differentiate you. You will be the person who will be getting that brand at the last. So they'll be like, oh, this brand is available everywhere, abhi aapke paas aaya. But with Bombay Gourmet, it's not that. It's like, oh, Bombay Gourmet has got this. I have not seen this anywhere. So, that's what you're supposed to. Your appetite to risk is something that you will have to increase. And with our franchisees, what has happened is that we have had those talented people who are, have invested with us, had trusted us in all these years. And, they have also reaped the gains and understood that, how you're supposed to play this retail game.
Fine. Thank you. I think we have about 2 minutes left, so it's been a very engaging discussion. And if I can just summarize in a few words, it is really the understanding of the customer that's coming out very clearly, the range and the service. These are the critical elements or the pillars that you can differentiate yourself in this world where you have quick commerce on one hand and you have the likes of large, big box discounters on the other hand. Even then, in such a scenario, we have these stalwarts on the stage who have kept themselves relevant for customers and growing. I would like to probably take maybe 2 or 3 questions, if there are any, from the audience at this point. Yeah, please.
Yes. So, actually, I couldn't hear you that well. If you could just repeat the question once again.
Yeah, making it very quick and fast. I mean, whether it's the modern trade, whether it's the e-platforms or mom and pop or brick and mortar, whatever terminology is being used, the first question is probably the salt or the common factor is the technology. Probably technology is breaking all those barriers. Then what comes into stuff is the product differentiation and the service is going to be the kind of the differentiator or kind of a specialty, any format. I'm referring to any format. So your views on that, that becomes the buzzword or the catchword.
Right. So if you want to be ahead of the market or even at least be with the market, you have to have a good technology backup with you. Your IT has to be quite strong. You have to understand different metrics that work into the play, you know, how, on what days customers are coming and what are they picking up at what times they are picking up what products. Auto replenishment, something that ma'am had already said earlier, is something that every retailer has to, you know, be on top of at 100%. Because say that your customer comes in on a Monday, he likes a certain product. He comes in back on a Friday and he doesn't get it, then that is something that they get disappointed at. And that is when you break your customer. And when once you break your customer, the customer is gone. He is gone to the online channels because the first thing he's going to do is going to Google it. And of course, it's not going to be available in your store, so it's going to go somewhere else. So IT is something that you have to be on top of all the time. Secondly, what you said was in customer relationship is that there are many different kinds of customers and you have to read the room when the customer walks in. We have always trained our staff in such a way that, you know, we would always greet the customer and we would, you know, take a back step. We would tell them that, you know, if you ever require any help or an assistance, I am right here for you. And we would let them explore. We would maybe, if they have one or two items in their hand, we would give them a basket. You know, these kind of small things is something. We would not overpower and, you know, get into their face because that is also something that de-stresses them. Many a times, a lot of, what we have noticed, a lot of brand promoters, you know, when they have targets. So they will always be, sir, try this, ye le lo, ye le lo. What creates is that the brand would do the sale that day, but my customer is lost. So for Bombay Gourmet, that is a huge loss because then they will not come into the store because they'll be like, I'll go into the store, I'll get hounded. So that is something we don't want. So we've always asked them that you read the room, you understand what the customer needs. Because if the customer needs a specific thing, he is going to come up to you or she is going to come up to you and they're going to say, I want this. But if they don't want your interference, they're going to be like, you know, leave me alone. So that is what every retailer has to understand.
Perfect,
Just to add on there, right? Both the parts, the technology and the customer convenience and differentiation, right? Especially when in a format like ours, when you have as large as more than 500 stores, 770 stores, right? Every store cannot be a mirror image because every catchment is very different. For example, a store in Hiranmoy, probably only one store available in a 20-kilometer radius, which is a AC store. That is a family time. So you have to provide that kind of convenience. That's where our technology, our assortment helps us, which is very, very different probably at a store available in MG Road, where people still want to buy monthly shopping, but they do not want to have a family time or a picnic time in a store. They want to come and go in a minute, right? So that's where you have to provide every pod at a very, very different type of facility, and that's where technology helps us. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you everybody. Thank you speakers and thank you the audience. I think it has been a very enlightening session. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you, bye.